Hello and welcome to DCP Live DCP SideQuest episode number 78.
Wow.
DCP Live SideQuest.
Live
It
SideQuest,
is
live DCP. How's
Wait.
it going?
Is the other show called Live? Because if it's called DCP SideQuest and DCP Live and DCP Firing Range, so the show is called Firing Range. The show is called SideQuest. Is the other show called Live?
Right. I'm glad. This is like people are hearing an internal discussion live right now about the.
Or perhaps you've just pulled back the curtain and the only one that's actually live is that show. The rest of them, we're actually
All
just sitting there
pre-recorded.
playing Xbox right now.
Yeah.
Like, you guys will never know
That's true.
because we're not going to answer your questions, so
No.
you're never going to know
That's
the
true.
illusion. Are we live or am I right now in bed sleeping?
It's an exactly. It's just the internet's
You're
an illusion,
never
man.
going to know. Yeah. Look at that.
Speaking of sleeping, I figured out I had a problem today when my wife woke me up with a phone call at 10 a.m. and I was ornery about it. Like, you
10
woke me
a.m.
up at 10 a.m.
Do you know what time it is?
my.
It's 10 a.m. I need at least 2 more hours of sleep.
I honestly thought when she woke me up, it was 7 a.m.
Oh.
Like, who would wake me up at 7 a.m.? What kind of a monster
Yeah.
would call somebody
Obnoxious.
at 7 a.m.? And then I realized it was 10 a.m. and I was like, oh.
Oh, no.
Well,
no, indeed.
I made a mistake.
I think I might need to rejigger my sleeping schedule.
Yeah, it's weird. January does that, man. January kicks in, and suddenly it's like sleepy time.
which maybe means we're supposed to hibernate.
Yeah,
It's because it's so dark
Interesting.
in the morning. Like I'm a morning person. I like getting up at like 6, but like at the moment it's still a struggle because I wake up, I open the curtains and like it's still dark, still cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a struggle to get out of bed.
yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
get
agree.
those gains though.
It's
right?
also right after the holidays, It's like there's so much crap going on and you don't know what time it is or what's happening because it's the holidays and
Yeah.
it carries over into January.
Yeah.
True enough. Is there like a post-holiday hangover? Is that just me that gets that, or is that everybody?
I
I
think
think
that's what
that's
we're talking
everybody.
about. That's literally
Yeah.
what this
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
I think it's like that adjustment period because it's like even when you go on holiday, like you need like a week to switch off.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you're finally switched off. So you're like, then you set into holiday modes. Now you need the week to switch back on. And it's
Yeah.
just like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or you need to be thrown into the deep end and then you've got no choice. Either one.
True. Yeah. Speaking of deep end, what happened in video games last week?
Absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
I don't think much happened. The thing that did happen is Mr. Jason, the Jason of Jason.
The Jason.
The Grim
Did
Reaper.
an
Yeah,
article.
the official
on,
game delayer.
Yeah, on Cyberpunk, because obviously the release was not what everyone expected it to be, and of
Huh.
course Jason wants to go inside on the ground, reporting live from
Yeah.
inside.
He
the
wants to go to
studio.
ground zero.
He wants to go to ground zero. So there was some stuff. Obviously, the article is not super short, so if you want to read that, you can head and read that. But the thing that kind of stuck out for me was a part of it that said, so at E3 in June 2019, CD Projekt announced that the game would come out on April 16th, 2020. Internally, people were very confused, wondering how they were going to finish the game by then because they thought that the April 16th release was a joke because based on the progress, they expected the game to be ready in 2022. So they they were
That's a
looking
pretty big
looking at
leap.
what we've done. They're like, look at what we've done. Okay, so the game's probably 2022 will be good to go. And then they announced on the stage that it's coming out April 2020.
So management just was not communicating with the people actually making the game, like at all. Like how does like such a
don't-
discrepancy happen?
I
That's
feel
a
like
2-year discrepancy.
I feel like management had to have been like, yeah, we're going at this pace. Got it. Okay. April 2020.
Yep. Yeah.
Guys don't
Or
mind
they had like
working
a, or they had like a really
20-hour
bad
weeks.
phone call. Maybe they had like a bad phone call before and they're like, wait, you're breaking up 2020, yeah? No, 22. Like, okay, 2020. Cool. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We got it. We've said it now. We can't go back.
If you look at the state of the game when it launched, especially on the consoles, especially on the PS4 and Xbox One, like that adds up. Like it could have used like if you think of the actual release date was late 2020, obviously. If you gave it another year or two, like imagine they're aiming for an early release date in 2022. If you gave it another year or two, like not only could they have a better argument for just dropping the PS4 and Xbox One altogether, which arguably they should have, because the game just doesn't. I don't think it's ever going to run well on those consoles.
Yeah.
No.
But like the amount of polish they could have had, the amount of there's so many things about that game that people just pick apart, like the cops, the whole system with like anything to do with the police is just
sudden cops
like non-existent basically. So many systems could have been fleshed out and built up, and
totally
like it would seem that a lot of stuff was just kind of like cut out of that game because they just didn't have enough time to implement it. And like another year or two.
On top of that,
like
though,
could have been something really special.
They put out that timeline, if you guys saw that, and it looks like it's looking like next fall or this fall, sometime in October or November, is when we actually it's when we actually get the next gen updates for PS5 and Xbox Series X.
We had a roadmap, no dates on it at all. It's like very blank. It's kind of just a blank. You might as well just put a blank piece of paper and say DLC.
Yeah.
Somewhere around here. And then there's and then the next gen update, well, like around here somewhere.
They're like, here's 2021, here's 2022. Yeah, somewhere towards the end there. It's like, wow. So not like early next year.
That's what people were expecting, right? With the next gen update, people were, I think I heard February thrown around a lot. Like it's gonna be early 2021. We're gonna get the next gen update. The next gen update is not ready. It is nowhere near ready.
2022.
Well,
maybe.
I mean, if you think about it, at this point, they have to get what's out there working better before you can even think about working on new stuff, right?
Totally.
Like, so they've released the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC version. Arguably, the PC version needs the least help. I mean, the PS4 and the Xbox One version are really rough. But what struck me as super weird about that roadmap was the free DLCs are coming out before the next gen console update. So they're working on new content before they even get the next gen console update out.
Yeah. Well, that might be because it's like mostly done, in terms of what they were going to deliver for the DLC, true. But the game still has bugs and all that, Yeah, it's fascinating for sure. And it seems like the actual release, the actual finished product of Cyberpunk might be in 2022.
If you think about it, it's a good point. Like, if you came to the game fresh in 2022, I wonder what the review score would be.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
be like it's officially out.
The thing is, because I genuinely hope they do get there, because underneath underneath all those issues, they generally do have a great game there.
I loved it.
And that's the thing. I was fortunate because I got to play on PC and I had basically a seamless experience. I was like, so I can completely sympathize with all the kind of complaints people are saying, but I would guess I was fortunate that I got to experience kind of what we were supposed to. So I genuinely hope they can do it, because it's got to be difficult. Like there's definitely obviously some management madness that went on for them to try and sort of sneak it under the table, but like there's so many people that worked hard on that, and it's got to be so tough when it comes to. You've got people, you've got investors, you've got people sort of paying money. There's going to be someone that turns around. It was a similar kind of conversation with Anthem before. Like Anthem had a few delays for a while, and then it came to the point where it was like, EA are backing this. And although everyone always kind of say like, EA is this big kind of money monster, there always comes a point where it's like, we've been paying for this for a long time. Something needs to be deployed. Something needs to be sold. Like you've got to like, so I'm not to sort of say that is the right attitude. But there's always kind of constant sort of internal pressure. There's people who are like, well, we need longer. It's like, yeah, but we don't have the money to keep it going longer. You never understand the internal politics behind it. But I just hope that the game can genuinely get the patches and stuff, because it is a fantastic game if you can actually play it.
Mm-hmm. I hope so, because there's people who were working 13 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
So I would like to see their destruction of their families at least amount to a playable game. That would be nice.
Yes.
Yes.
Because they said that's in the article. They said that this person quit when they got married because they knew that doing the 13 hours a day would be simply impossible. But he said that I have some friends who lost their families because of crunch, because you have a family and the person is literally never there for years, months at a time, and it's going to drive a wedge and it's going to end up destroying relationships.
This is a really common problem in the gaming industry. It's one of the reasons that the gaming industry loses so much talent, is because people go in as young people and they can do those crazy hours. But once you do start a family, once you get married, like, you just can't, like, you have to make a decision. Like, am I going to be there for my kids growing up? Am I going to go see them? Am I going to pick them up from school? Am I going to see them at their soccer games, or am I going to continue on in this career path? And that's a decision that just shouldn't have to be made, I think. Like, imagine all the creativity and awesome experiences that we've lost out on just because the game industry is just built like this in so many ways.
And sometimes it's brutal, because I when I worked at Microsoft for a while, and I was part of a crunch for one of the games we were working on, and but they ramped up the team massively to the point where our team jumped to like 80 people. It was all crunch for a while, and then as soon as the project launches, the team is just like got rid of. It's like, damn,
they just cut them.
Just like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's brutal, man. Because like you give so much of your time and energy and life, essentially. And then they're just like, okay, this contract is done.
Yeah.
And these guys were not getting paid much either. Some of them were on minimum wage for what they were doing, which is really crazy. I think, you guys ask a lot of how the hell does all of this happen? And one of the pieces from the article was that veteran devs from other companies were shocked at CD Projekt Red's free-for-all production. So one example that was given was if someone needed a shader, they'd make it with no pipeline in place to determine whether someone had already made one with the same function. So someone's like, all right, made a shader. And then they make the shader, and then they're like, oh, it already exists. Okay.
So made it 2 months later.
That's bad management right there. That's like horrible project management. That's another thing about the gaming industry is you often hear about these people who started off as, game design, or they started off like in QA and then they move up through the ranks, but you never hear about like awesome management, right? Like where they get their management experience. Yeah, this person is an amazingly creative person, but that doesn't mean that they don't know how to manage a project.
Right.
And I think that's not just true with that industry. I've worked with plenty of people who are genius level at what they do, but when it comes to management, they have zero skill. They've never had any training. They've never had there's nothing there.
That's Because I mean, I would say that's one of the things to kind of expand on what you're saying. It's often, I want to phrase it in the right way, because like this is definitely not for every studio. There are some fantastic studios out there, but like one of the running themes you often find in a lot of in the games industry and other companies is like the people that actually know the product and know the situation are not the ones making the decisions. The people that are making the decisions, that are sitting in their office, like separated from the team and being like, I'm just going to press this button because I need to say that something needs to be done. It's like they're often not on the ground with the people that actually know it. So they'll be like, right, this needs to happen. Then they'll be like, this is physically not possible. It doesn't make sense. Or even down to like, if it's not development, even down to like community management, there'll be people that will be like the community managers that are like on the floor and be like, we're here with the community. Like this does not make sense. And then someone high up will be like, we're going to push it through anyway. It's like, what are you doing? And then, sometimes they'll listen, but other times there are people that in the managerial position, they're just like, we know best because I am the manager. It's like, do you know best?
Yeah.
Do you? And you're not going to take the fall when it goes bad. You're going to put it and blame it on QA, blame it on community.
Which they did.
Damn.
They got a bonus on the line, man.
So it's everything you said is like so true from piece of the article. And I will say that in Jason's article, of course, he's writing about what went wrong at CD Projekt Red. So he's talking to people who are coming to him to talk about what went wrong. So you're only getting like half of the story. You're not getting the other half of where things went well or any of that. So do keep that in mind. But these are real people that work at the company that are saying what happened to them. So they are still real experiences. And they've said that people would come and be like, so this unrealistic deadline is ridiculous. What are we going to do? And they were like, we'll be fine. And it's the thing that Jason talks about BioWare magic, where BioWare had a similar belief of the unwavering belief that with enough hard work and crunch, the game will come together eventually. And that's essentially what happened here. It was like the TLDR was that Cyberpunk was announced 8 years ago. but development didn't really start until 2016. In 2018, they had little but a mostly fake demo. Most of the staff knew and openly said it wouldn't be ready for release in 2020, but management believed in the CD Projekt magic.
Like, that's just so weird to
Right.
be like, there's this magic in forcing people to just work insane hours. It's not magic.
It's not magic. It's
delusional.
It's really bad.
It's mismanagement.
It's real bad.
Yeah.
You never want to plan for crunch. We were talking in the pre-show that, you can plan for people to be 80%, use 80% of their production powers, and then you can push it to 100% if you really need to. Like if a nasty bug comes up and you cannot fix it in time and someone needs to work at 100% capacity to get that fixed because you found something that you didn't expect, then all right. But you never want to just have like, yeah, we crunch and we make it happen, so let's do it. That's not good. That's not how you manage a project. So it's really unfortunate. I hope that they are able to fix it, because all the people who worked really hard deserve to have that game where it's held up as this really awesome experience. So hopefully they can.
And it would be nice just to kind of talk about the game in a positive light without a caveat. Be like, I really enjoy Cyberpunk.
When's the last time we did that?
Yeah.
Like last year, for the last few years, it's been Red Dead Redemption. The crunch was insane. Ubisoft, like just the allegations of all the sexual harassment that were happening there. Like all these companies just seem filled with like just absolute toxicity. I can't remember the last time. Bungie is the only one I ever hear about that. Like
Nintendo can do no wrong with their games.
Or we just don't hear about it.
Yeah.
Do we hear about crunch stories from
Miyamoto
Nintendo?
would never do anything wrong. Miyamoto
It's based
is
in Japan, so it's probably pretty bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say they probably just don't talk about it because of honor.
Imagine what the Chinese game developers are going through, like the people who made Genshin Impact.
Oh, I sit there and routinely think, I'm like, you guys are putting out events all the time. There's new characters, new story, new stuff. I'm like, I wonder how hard you guys are working and how much you are making. Because, yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the game industry in Japan or in China, but I do know about the anime industry in Japan. And those animators can barely pay their rent. There's a charity that helps them pay their rent because they get paid so little. It's very bad. Yeah.
And they're so good. Give them lots of money.
They're amazing.
Right.
I know. Right. You see someone who has animated this this genre defining scene, and they're sitting in like not even a 1-bedroom apartment working with a charity to help them pay for food.
Why is that? What is the system responsible for that? Is it just the corporation takes all of it?
A lot of the way that people animate is they're not actually hired by the studio. They're all kind of contractors, and anytime there's contract work, it normally gets mistreated in some type of way. So they just hire you to do X amount of scenes. It doesn't matter how much time you're working. You're just getting paid for those scenes. So it could take you a week. It could take you a month. You're getting paid the same amount. Yeah. So it's not great. I would like to see better working conditions for lots of people. Would be nice.
It's unfortunate. I can't really see it changing that much in the near future. Maybe in 10 years, there's a big shift that happens, but it's going to require some, probably some pretty big flops to happen or something, or some,
Yeah.
Well, how many have we gotten over the last few years? I mean, I feel like Red Dead Redemption is like the one standout huge game that didn't completely fall flat over the last few years, right? So we had Anthem come out and fall flat. Like these huge ambitious projects just seem to come out and be like, blah. How many of them have come out? Anthem was a big one. Destiny 2 obviously
Marvel,
came
Avengers.
through it, but Marvel, Avengers. How long was Marvel Avengers in development for?
I'm not sure actually.
I mean, we were definitely hearing about that game while Destiny 1 was still a project, or Destiny 1 was
because there was that really early teaser where it was just Thor's hammer and lightning trickling off of it, and then there was I want to say a good 3, 4 maybe years.
See, the thing is, almost all these except for Marvel's, I haven't heard about financial loss. Marvel's, I've heard they haven't recovered their initial investment, right? The Avengers, but
well, Anthem couldn't have.
I don't know. Was there a report on how much money they lost? That's the thing. If they made money, then from a financial perspective, it's like, well, technically, whoever's on top came out okay, and that's what they're looking at. If the top management doesn't get burnt from these projects severely, then it's not going to change.
And like crunch just also is just not good for your game. You know, you have someone that's working 13 hours, 15 hours a day, and they're having to spell check things or like make sure code is good. Like you're going to have people making mistakes when they're not getting enough sleep. They're not happy. They're working insane hours. It's not good for the game, period. So I'd like to see more companies do what Bungie did, where they really did an effort to get rid of crunch, and it has to be an effort. Like you have to completely change everything.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you can just be like, all right, we're gonna manage things better. It's like, well, how are you gonna do that? So it's a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it.
It just seems like if you want to actually have a studio that has talented people that continuously produce amazing products, you have to figure out how to not crunch, because people have to live their lives and enjoy themselves and not feel like they are living an endless death cycle.
Well, one of the problems is that most of these companies are, you know, they're publicly traded and they have investors that they have to satisfy, and you know, like in a perfect world, we can make all these people perfectly happy, and you know that'd be wonderful. But this game is going to then take 10 years to make, and you know we're never gonna make any money on it.
Something's got to give.
It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a tough one, man. Yeah, and the other thing is that there's, you can't, like, you know, a lot of people talk about unions in the gaming world, but I think one of the biggest problems with like starting a union is that, you know, there's so many people clamoring to get into the industry that, like, if you start a union and you all get fired, it's so easy to rehire. You know, like you're just gonna
turnover's high.
Yeah.
Although for the real, it seems like for the highly creative people, that it doesn't seem like there's an endless supply of talent in that department. It seems like that's pretty unique and tough to find and replace, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. We want to talk about something else.
Yeah, probably talk about something else, something less depressing.
Games without having
Genshin Impact. I got the ultimate waifu came home. Her name is Ganyu. She's great. She's beautiful. She's kind. She's vegetarian. What else do you want?
Why should I pull for Ganyu? Tell me why I should spend money.
Ganyu is what actually a lot of us would say is the first instance of power creep in Genshin Impact. Ganyu is the power creep.
Yeah.
Because she's a character who doesn't need any constellations, doesn't need a good weapon, barely needs good artifacts, and she can still do crazy damage. So she's actually really good if you're free to play, if you can pull her, obviously. If you're free to play, because you don't need to have like the 5-star weapon and you don't need the C6 to get her to start doing some really crazy stuff. You just pick her up, you hold your charged attack, you shoot it at things, and things die. So yeah, she's pretty great.
She seems insanely powerful, but like the demo, you know, you have everything maxed out. All the armor or all the artifacts and stuff that they give you on that. So I wasn't sure.
You don't need it. You don't need any of it. There's been a lot of tests of like C0. One person was using a level 1 bow and showing what damage she can do. Wow. So yeah, she's crazy.
Pretty good, yeah. What's in the future for Genshin? When is it like the next big drop?
I don't think we know exactly when it is, but we know that it's going to have an entire new area because we had Dragon Spine come out. Dragon Spines. We had Dragon Spines. That was it, which was a new section of an already existing area. So we're getting like a brand new place, and that's going to be based on Japan. So it's going to be all Japanese themed. We have like European, Germanic themed, and then we have Chinese themed, and we're going to have Japanese themed. So
that is really exciting.
It's really exciting.
Yeah.
And also it means that the main character will probably get another element that they can attune to, which is always exciting. And the Genshin just has such awesome storytelling. Anytime I play the game, I'm routinely impressed by how much voice acting is in the game and who they get to voice act in their game. They have like every famous anime voice actor ever. And if they don't currently have them, you bet they'll get them for the next one. Because yeah, they're voiced by basically almost the entire game has voice lines. Definitely the important story parts.
It's probably the biggest standout for me playing the game. Is like the story is surprisingly good and has the lore that they set up in the game is like really big, and all the characters have like these complex interconnections, and then the story just kind of doubles down on it with all the voice acting on it. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's written with like humor in it as well that is genuinely entertaining. And I think they do a really good job of fleshing out their world and the characters. So I'm excited for more, especially a whole new area is going to be very, very nice. And we're going to start getting our first Dendro characters.
Oh, what's that?
So that'll be nice. It's the one element that's missing.
Oh, the plant stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. That's going to be really cool.
I'm excited for those.
Yeah, I've really been enjoying Genshin. I've been playing it as like a check-in for 30 minutes a day type of game. Do my dailies, farm for some stuff while I spend resin. The multiplayer side and the resin system is still garbage.
Yeah.
From a from a AAA standpoint or from a console gaming standpoint, it's just really bad. It doesn't make sense for the type of game that they made. If they could fix that somehow in the future, I think nothing could stop Genshin. Assuming you like the artsy style or like the cutesy artsy style and like the world they built. That game is incredible, and if they could fix the multiplayer and resin concepts behind it, then like sky's the limit.
Yeah, like I know that that's like a part of gacha games, it's a part of mobile games, but the game that they've created could be one of the best games, and it could keep going forever because it's a live service game. But it's like, imagine having an open world RPG solo, really awesome story experience with great combat that keeps getting updated. Yeah. Which is just insane. Like, I think they could do really well. I know that I don't know if they want to deviate from the whole gacha mobile game system, but I think if they did, they would be better for it.
They could at least strike a balance. So it's less I don't know, less strict, because I'll want to do more farming, but the resin just gets in the way.
Yeah. Some type of balance would be nice. Especially as it makes people want to get more characters. It makes them want to spend more money on getting characters because it will allow them to get the materials to upgrade the characters faster. So then you want to spend more money. Because right now I'm looking at the next character that's going to get released and I'm like, I'll probably pass on them because I've spent a ton of materials for Ganyu. Yeah. And I'm just not going to have enough. I'm going to end up driving myself into the ground.
When they do the next world or the next Japan area, do you think it's going to bump it from 90 to 100 for the max level for stuff?
Probably, yeah. If not even higher, we'll see. Because I know they don't tend to put out really high level content just in case people aren't there yet. They want people to be able to enjoy at least a lot of it. But I'm also thinking like they have to do something with the resin when that comes out, because we're getting like the world bosses that we farm every week. That's 60 resin. You get 160 resin total without bumping it up.
Yeah.
So 60 for a boss, like a weekly boss, there's currently 3. So that we're going to keep getting more and more and more and more and more. And it's going to have to bump up. I hope they do. A lot of games do that. They'll bump up like whatever resin system they're using and bump up the max that you can hold on to.
Well, it definitely needs it. For sure. What else is there? Let's see. Hitman 3's coming out this week.
There was a Hitman launch trailer. Yes.
I was going to say before that, have you seen that Ninja Theory dropped a mighty impressive tech demo today that looks absolutely off the wall?
I did not see this.
Like weird.
If
you search I'll drop it in chat. If you search Project Mara, they have basically. This is like a tech demo sort of thing. Just to kind of quote a couple of articles, they said, we're aiming for an experience that feels real, that doesn't feel like a game and doesn't feel like a movie. They said it's something altogether different, and there's a power in tricking the mind into believing it's real before then subverting it, so that you experience the mind-bending strangeness and the horror of the world that Mara inhabits. So basically, they went through and they had a human walk through like an apartment, and then they'll switch over to the in-engine stuff. And some of the side-by-side pictures, I kid you not, if they weren't labeled like in-engine and real, I wouldn't know which one is real. Like I'm looking at it like, what in the hell is it? Like, I mean, obviously, you know, this is a tech demo, so it can't, you know, you obviously think to yourself, all right, well, we finally get to play this. Is it going to be anywhere near this? But the technology behind this is just mind-bending. I'm just like, what the hell?
In-engine.
Yeah, it is. When they switch to in-engine, you're just like, what? What do you mean?
Did you actually switch?
Did you? Are you lying? Yeah, and Ninja Theory is a company that's doing real interesting stuff. Of course, they made Hellblade. For anyone that doesn't know, they are the creators of Hellblade, and that was amazing tech that they used for the audio of the voices that she's hearing to try and get you to experience what it's like to go through something like that. And they're doing it again with Project Mara. They're doing really cool stuff. So I'm so excited to see what Ninja Theory does with both Hellblade 2, how they like make that better, even more better in next gen, and better, and how this ends up working. Because this is one company where they tell me they're doing some cool tech stuff, and I'm like, I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
there was a trailer for.
This is impressive.
Yeah, they put like a teaser like a while ago for, I think the actual, although it's called Project Mara, I think it's supposed to actually be some kind of game at some point, because there was a teaser like a year ago that was for Project Mara, and then obviously now they're showing the tech demo behind it. So, you know, quite how that actually realized itself will, of course, I will say though, right? They spoke about it being, you know, like subverting the realism and then kind of like putting the horror aspects in. If the game looks this real, I mean, I don't play horror games anyway. If the game looks this real
I don't either.
and they want to give me a horror experience, no. I'm not there. I'm out. I don't care.
I think we need to have no. You know what you need to do? If it's super realistic horror game, we need to have the Eric's experience uploaded to YouTube. Milk it for all you can get out of it, Eric's. People will have a blast watching you scream and hide.
The thing is, people think that, but they realize what they fail to realize is it would actually be quite boring to watch, because the way that I process fear is I just go quiet and I just don't say anything. Like when I first tested though, when I go back to when PSVR before it came out, I went to a PlayStation event, right? And then they were like, "Oh, do you want to try this tech demo?" I was like, "I don't really like horror." It was Kitchen, so it's before Resident Evil. And I was like, "I don't really like this." So they were like, "Oh, just do it anyway." And they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, the person before you, like, they fell off the chair, and then the person afterwards just like ripped the headset off." I was like, "You're not really selling this to me."
Yeah.
So I just sat there, and I sat through 10 minutes of like this creepy thing with the sound coming behind them, dragging the blade, and they jump over your face and stab you in the guts, and you see your guts falling out. All right. And I'm just sitting there completely in silence. And the person took the headset off. They were like, "I thought you didn't like horror." I was like, "I don't."
I do not. I'm leaving.
I'm going. And I was just, so if I did a playthrough, it would literally just be me like, nothing.
I sing, you know, like Just Keep Swimming. That's totally real for me. Start just singing things.
Fair.
Hopefully no DMCA. It's just running through going, I am the tiger.
Yeah.
Blocks out all the spooky things that are happening by
The only way I'm even able to play like things like Resident Evil is if I stream it and I have chat. You know, like that makes it feel like there's somebody else in the room, and I'm kind of half paying attention to the game and half paying attention to chat. And like if I watch a horror movie, I have to like be on my phone like during the scary bits.
Yeah.
And then like I hear the scream, and then I look at the screen to see what happened. You know what I mean? Like you
gotta give him the side eye when you're looking at it. Like, okay.
Like my wife loves to put scary movies up on the screen because she likes to see me squirm. You know, like we watched it together, and she thinks it's an activity for her just watching me.
It's fun seeing people be scared. There's a whole. That's why people have like donation goals or sub goals. Like, we'll play a scary game when we get 100 subs, because they're like, yes.
Do you know how? Do you know as well? In fact, I'm thinking back to all these horror memories. I think it's just the games industry is just a ploy to try and get me to play horror in VR. Then fast forward to another E3 when it was actually Resident Evil. Right, there was a demo, and their whole E3 booth was like a
the kitchen demo
thing. This was after Kitchen. Kitchen was the one that I spoke about just a moment ago. This was the actual Resi one, right? And then it was like in a horrible, haunted-looking mansion. This is how I completed the demo, because you have to go in, you have to go and get the key, and then there's this dude that comes out. because it's VR, you obviously wherever you're looking. So I looked at the floor the whole time. I ran up to the wall. I picked up the key. I ran away to the door, and I was like, I knew I was being chased, but I was like, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look. And I got there, opened the door, I was like, right, I'm done. See ya, thanks.
Seems like a pretty effective way to do it.
Yeah.
It was great.
I know. Tefty's chat always talks about him squeaking.
During Outlast. I think Outlast 2, actually, maybe.
I tried to play Outlast, and I was having like heart palpitations. I had to like stop. Like I was literally like, my
get a heart rate monitor, slap it on there, put it on stream content, Brian.
It was the middle of the day. My whole family's downstairs watching TV in the living room. I just come downstairs. I'm like sweating, and everybody just like looks at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Nothing." Like, I'm gonna sit here and watch some cartoons with you guys. Hey, did you guys see that New York Times article that came out about parents who are worried their kids are playing too many video games during the pandemic?
I didn't read it, but I saw people talking about it.
Oh my God. It is, I think, possibly the most tone deaf thing I've ever seen. Or like that. Like, I remember being a kid, and like there was a lot of kind of like video games are ruining our children kind of sentiment going on. Like they're making our kids violent. There's a lot of effort to ban violent video games, or like you'll remember the Mortal Kombat and Night Trap, like Senate hearings, like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. This is an article that is pulled straight out of that time in like the mid 90s, where like it's people who, like, the article kind of has this family that it references every once in a while where the parents are like they're really concerned that their kids are playing too much video games in the pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, it's a valid concern, right? Their kids are home 24 hours a day. They're not going out to socialize. They're not going out to play sports. They're not going to school. Like everything is happening through this computer. So as a person who did not live that life as a child, it's concerning to see such a different life being led by your kids, and to then worry, like, what is the long-term ramifications of this going to be? I can say as a parent, like I've worried the same thing, but at the same time, we're in the middle of a pandemic where these other options are not available. Also, like, socialization is happening online now.
It
is
Timmy
a real
thing. Telling you he had sex with your mom.
That's it's more than that. Like,
I know.
I have two kids who, look, it's there. A certain aspect of it is failure to launch. A certain aspect of it is like, what are you gonna do? You just graduated high school and there's a pandemic, and like you just kind of like locked in, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, a lot of their interaction, their socialization is online, and like, how could you possibly like even think about taking that away from them right now? And like, it'd be like, I can't even compare it. It'd be like grounding a kid, or like locking them into a room with like zero. It'd be like solitary confinement.
Well, also it's extremely hypocritical to be like, oh, you can't play video games as much as you are, and meanwhile, I'm gonna go in the other room and watch Netflix.
Yeah, good
all
point.
day. It's like, not all day, but you know what I mean? Or I'm going to go on a laptop, work for 8 hours, and then go sit in the living room and watch Netflix for another 4 hours or something like that. Like, you have to compare like the same situation, the stuff. And it's like, parents are doing basically the same thing. It's just video games are like another angle of the same thing that's happening. And yeah, of course, of course the pandemic is definitely going to have effects from being like isolation and having to stay inside is definitely going to have effects, but it's not just kids. It's like the whole population is going to be trying to recover from the psychological effects of this stuff.
And it's how people spend time with their friends. Like, there's a bunch of people grown-ups who didn't play a ton of games, but now they're getting on like Call of Duty with their friends because they get to hang out with them. They get to have conversations, but they're doing something. They're not just hopping in a Zoom call. They're getting together and playing games and hanging out. And I'm sure it's even more so the case for kids, where all their friends are playing, Fortnite or whatever it may be, and they get to hang out with their friends.
Yeah.
I think with any of these sort of things, it's just, I would say it's just like, it's always in moderation, right? There's nothing wrong with, gaming can be a social thing. Like, all right, sure, if you put a little little Jimmy on his console, and you never speak to him, and he's like there for 24 hours in the day, and you don't feed him. Right, that's a problem, right? But like, if he's there socializing with his friends, as long as he's also spending some time like coming away from the as long as he's coming away and like eating his food and maybe going out for a walk, doing something like that, like there's nothing wrong with that stuff. And as you say, you're in a pandemic, you're stuck at home, what else is he gonna do? Like stare at the wall? Like
balance is
the meme has been that there's the mom says, what are you gonna do when you're married? Tell your wife that you're going to play Xbox to relax? And like the response is yeah, as a married man, I do that all the time. Like, I totally like go and play video games to relax. Of course I do. Like, I don't even understand like how that could be a question in somebody's
perspective
mind.
Is so disconnected from
it really reality. Is. The whole article is very disconnected. And, the fact that somebody, like, I understand that somebody wrote this because they have no connection to video games at all, right? And then they found this family where the parents obviously... Look, being a parent is hard. And like when your kids are experiencing a childhood that is so different from the childhood you experienced, it's very hard to kind of navigate that. So I don't actually blame the parents that much, right? It's like, it's really like, this is a really difficult time right now. And like, I would suggest that they talk to other parents and try and like work through these things together. And, but the fact that this article like ran in the New York Times, like there was a writer who wrote it and an editor who approved it. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's so disconnected from reality.
It is, yeah.
Like, it really does feel like it was written in 1995. Honestly, like it just has the tone of that time period all over it.
It's hilarious. Just. Like 15 years ago, I'd be like, okay, I could see how someone thought this would make sense. But like today, with all the streaming that's going on, or like the YouTube in general, like it doesn't make any sense to have. Or I mean, it just is extremely disconnected to have that perspective.
Every time there is a newspaper article that's like something video games, I'm not even going to read the rest of the title. Like, it's going to be a bad take. You're going to be like, video games are ruining their lives. Video games are turning people into killers. Video games made this guy, I don't know, build whatever.
Video games are the scapegoat for all these problems that people have been neglecting.
Yeah, which is really weird.
Exactly.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
I think we should get these people to play some video games.
Yeah. Well,
maybe a horror game. Perfect.
What's nice about video games now is that it is a social experience, where there's a fear as a parent that your kids are spending too much time indoors. They're not having a wide enough experience of the world, right? It's like, as a parent, I tried to introduce things because like I don't want my kid to never know that they would have loved baseball because they never were put on a little league team, or that they never liked nature because they never took a walk in the park. You know what I mean? Like, but to the way this article approaches it, it's just like, well, these kids are playing too much video games, and it's just as bad as the pandemic itself.
No.
Like, this is a release for a lot of people right now, you know, and it's a tough article. It's really a tough one to get through because there's a lot of people who think this way, right?
Oh, sure.
Yep.
There's a lot of ignorance in the world. A whole lot of it.
Whole lot of it.
It's just a form of entertainment, just like every other form of entertainment.
Well, in a lot of ways, it's superior to so many others because it's interactive. It activates parts of your brain that are about like problem solving and figuring things out, and it's not a passive form of storytelling; it's an interactive form. Also, there's a social aspect to it. You're not going to make any friends reading a book. You could make a ton of friends playing Destiny. Yeah. So in a lot of ways, it's a much more healthy form of entertainment than other forms of entertainment. Not that other forms of entertainment are bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't read books or watch TV.
Yeah.
It's just that video games are a different form of entertainment in a lot of ways to other passive styles.
They make you a better driver because of the hand-eye coordination.
They do. There you go.
It makes you a better driver. It's true.
I think there was a study about color perception as well, and like the neurons being built in your brain for decoding colors, and people who play video games tend to have stronger perception of colors because of having so much concentration looking at a screen and decoding like variations of levels of intensity of color. So not that that's, gonna.
So we are superior color seers. We see our world in a more vibrant way.
Same thing happens in audio engineering when you're paying attention and like you're listening to frequencies so much that your brain starts building more neurons for paying attention to audio. You start understanding various finer gradations of it. So I know everything requires balance in life. Just straight up, it's a balance equation. You do something too much, you drink too much water, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Yes.
That could be the hardest part too. Is just moderating anything that you truly enjoy.
Yeah. Well, this has been an interesting episode of SideQuest.
What about Hitman? We've got some minutes.
We got Hitman coming up this week.
There was
Comes out in 2 days.
Launch trailer officially came out today.
I didn't watch it. I'm not going to watch it. I don't want to know any of the new environments. I'm a little pissed off.
Hitman, you don't need to watch the trailer.
I'm a little pissed off about this PC situation because I played the previous games on PC. Normally, what's supposed to happen is that if you own the previous games, all the previous content for Hitman and Hitman 2 are imported into Hitman 3, and all those maps running in the new engine are all available to you in Hitman 3. But because Hitman 3 is coming out on Epic and the other Hitman games I own on Steam, that's not going to happen.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer. So I think I'm actually going to end up buying the game on PlayStation 5. But I am kind of bummed that I'm not going to get like that full like pull through of all the content from
that's true,
Hitman 1 and 2 on PC.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with PS5. And that whole thing about pulling the content forward isn't affecting it at all. I think I just want another title for the PS5 to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I would like another title. Actually, maybe I should buy it for Xbox 4 Xbox 4. I said it right.
Play on PlayStation, play in VR. Don't forget.
Because to be honest with you, my Xbox is definitely the thing. I mean, that was a $500 console that I bought 2 months ago, and it just I have not been turning it on. Like, there's just Game Pass is awesome, but like for some reason, like the games I've been playing have been on PC and on PS5 for the last and on Nintendo 64.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you been playing that $500 NES more than the Xbox?
I have. I am crushing Cruising USA as well.
Ooh, that's a classic.
Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna play it on PS5. Over the weekend, I got to experience a bunch of games that I played in 2020 on stream in a 4K HDR 75-inch TV experience.
Oh, you hooked up your stuff to your TV?
Yeah, man, it's nice.
Can you suddenly understand why I put a 48-inch 4K TV in my office?
I definitely understand. Yeah, I get that aspect of it. Also, I don't really couch game as much as I did in the past.
Yeah, streaming
has obviously affected that. So going back and kind of like experiencing couch gaming with all those games that I streamed in 4K HDR on a 75-inch TV was man, it's so nice. So nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Games to me are they sell 4K TVs much better than like movies or TV shows do.
Definitely.
Like sometimes when I'm watching a TV show, I can't even tell if it's in 1080p or 4K, honestly. But games just look so sharp and so good at 4K. And now that we have the hardware to power like high frame rates of 4K, like it's just like we've really hit kind of a line in the sand where like suddenly we have just amazing looking games at 4K, and it's a great time to buy into 4K.
It is.
Just as the 8K TVs come on the market.
Gotta keep pushing that line,
Yep.
Yeah, it's surprising. Like Ghost of Tsushima, 60 FPS.
Oh yeah,
God, that was and again, it's HDR as well. So 4K HDR, 60 FPS on that screen just is it's an experience.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
that game's HDR is a nice experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really nice stuff. I guess that's SideQuest. We went on.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I'm expecting all of you to play the medium. Now I know how much you love horror games.
I was actually planning on playing that. Anyways,
Is that game going to be like super scary?
Yes.
Oh.
The
Alright.
part with the
Somebody
demon
tried to
kind of
convince
wandering
me.
around.
Maybe I'll
going,
just watch you play it on stream.
I think somebody tried to
That way
lie
I
to
can
me
look
and
down at my
convince me
phone.
to play the game, right? Because somebody sold it to me as it's basically a spooky link between worlds. Because there's two worlds
man,
in parallel.
yeah.
And I was like, don't you dare try and hook me in with the Zelda
I mean, it's
angle,
true.
right?
I mean, it is true.
You know,
That
you know I'm
motherfucker
gonna
is
play it.
lying to you.
I'm just like, no, I'm done with
I
that.
mean, well, they did say spooky. So just maybe they de-emphasize the spooky part. Like, it's a spooky link between worlds.
Like, is it
what was that?
spooky?
No,
Like,
I don't think
Control
nothing.
was spooky, or is it like
No.
horror? It's a
There's
horror.
demons and
Okay.
ghoulies.
Like, I can do demons. I did Doom.
Yeah, I can do demons. I just don't like zombies.
You're
Okay,
not the Doom
wait.
Slayer.
Or, like,
Do we need to show you like the
No,
live
that
reaction
won't be
of
necessary.
the spooky part?
That won't be
I
necessary.
think we might need it.
If there are
Isn't-
live reactions of the spooky part, I'm not in. I'm out.
Isn't Medium like? Isn't it simulating the idea of some demon is chasing you in a supernatural sense, and you have the ability to flip to the supernatural world and see
To
the
be able to
demon
see
that's
them.
actually chasing
Yeah.
you, and then flip back and
Yeah.
forth? Like,
F
So-
everything about that.
Wait, does that mean that's just kind of like Jujutsu Kaisen then? So I'm just ready to see the demons.
I'm definitely interested in it for sure. It sounds
Hell
like
yeah.
something that if you're already sensitive to things like that, maybe you want to not venture down
Yeah.
that road.
I think I'll watch
psychologically.
you stream it. I think that'll be my interaction with that game while I
so
go on my
cool.
merry way assassinating people. In
It's on
Hitman.
Game Pass though, Briar. You have to play
It's a
it.
Game
No,
Pass.
I don't. There's tons of
you do.
stuff
It's on
on Game
Game Pass.
Pass that I haven't played.
It's on Game Pass.
So yeah, that's the end of the month, right?
Yeah, January 29th.
That's actually a big release for Game Pass. That's coming out. Is it PC and Xbox that it's coming to?
It is. Yep.
Nice.
Wow. I wish Hitman was coming to Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think I bought like the $80 version of Hitman.
On the PS5?
I bought it on Best Buy. I forgot actually which version I bought. I think I bought it on PS5. I've been buying, like, I'm more drawn to playing stuff on PS5 because every time a new release comes out on Xbox 4 and PS5, I'd go watch like a comparison video between the two consoles, and the PS5 version is technically better, which is surprising because the hardware, like we all thought, the Xbox Series X was going to have the edge over the PS5 hardware wise, but it's not turning out like that in the games that have released.
Maybe the PS5 hardware is easier to optimize in the development pipeline.
That
Maybe.
could very well be the case, for sure.
Yeah, might be. I have no idea. I'm not a developer, so pure speculation. All right.
I can't wait for that game to come out though. Hitman games are so fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Definitely. Well, I guess that's we'll definitely dig into that next week after we get some Hitman time. in.
Yeah, next week and then the week after, medium. It's gonna
Yep.
be good.
There you go.
And man,
Good new games coming.
Awesome. All right. Well, that is episode 78 of SideQuest, DCP SideQuest. We're just SideQuest.
Side quest complete.
There you go.
Ding. Briar's
shout-
looking for his bell. He's looking for the bell.
I've lost it. I don't think
You misplaced the bell?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it.
Is it
My
behind
desk
your-
is a mess all the time.
it got silent in NVIDIA voice anyway, right? Or RTX voice or whatever it's called.
I turned that off because I was getting weird side effects from it.
Oh,
Weird
Yeah.
side effects.
Side
That's
effects.
right.
Side
My
effects
sperm
may
count is
include-
way down, so I turned off NVIDIA voice.
If you find yourself
the
suddenly
only thing that's
passing out,
changed
stop.
here is the video voice.
I had to start getting extra tea.
Well, thank you very much for hanging out, guys. Shout out to all of our Patreon members and our live Twitch subs and people hanging. You guys are awesome. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter. I will be streaming Hitman. I am also starting up some YouTube content again for my YouTube channel. I said I was going to do 2 YouTube videos last year in 2020, and I did just do 2 YouTube videos. This year is going to be different, so looking forward to making content again on that on that platform. Who's next?
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts. I will not be playing Hitman, but I will be playing the Medium, and I'm going to be playing all of that, and it's going to be embarrassing because I'm going to be very scared the whole time, but that's okay.
Played a Hitman game, Watts? The new ones?
I have, yes.
Hitman one, you didn't dig it?
No, I do. It's just between that and the Medium. Like I probably could finish it by then, but I don't want to risk it because I want to play Medium as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, got it.
Fair.
Yeah.
Eric's?
You can find me over on YouTube at Eric's Gaming or Twitter at Eric's. I don't know what I'm doing this week. I'm still playing the Monster Hunter Rise demo. That's it. I'm still playing that game. Still waiting for the full game to come out. And I'll be playing Hitman. Or they probably won't cover too much of it. I might make a video, but I just play Hitman. I just like Hitman. That's it.
It's a fun game.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me playing Hitman. I will be streaming Hitman. I will fire up the stream for that game just because it's more fun to play that game with other people. Like it's just somehow like it just makes it more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'll be cruising the streets of the Redwood Forest in Cruising USA.
That's where you can find Briar.
Yeah.
I legit
in a red Ferrari in Cruising USA.
I legit want to cruise the Redwood Forest here pretty soon. Maybe not in a Ferrari, but like IRL, because I'm pretty close to Redwoods. Yeah.
Yeah. How far away is that?
For me, like Mendocino, all that's like 4 hours or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. I mean, they're all over California, but like
4 hours is pretty close. What? That's a nature.
In the United States, 4 hours is close.
Okay.
You know, I've noticed a weird phenomenon. People who live in big states have a different kind of perception of what's close and what's far than people who live in small states. And I wonder if that's true for like Europe. Like people who live in small countries have a different perception than people who live in large countries.
I'm like, you say 4 hours is short. Like I could drive from England to Wales in 3 hours. You're like 4 hours is short. I'll drive to the forest. 4 hours? I can drive halfway up the country.
There's other forests. This is like a specific grove that's like 2,000 years old and all that. Like it's a famous grove of redwood trees. There's definitely other forests around me. Yeah. Anyways, that is SideQuest. Let us know in the comments if you think 4 hours is close or short to drive.
Yeah.
To. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Later.